Skinner and Demoulas in Richfield Springs and Turnbull Insurance Service since 1866 present Mohawk Valley Living, exploring the arts, culture, and heritage of our region. A special good morning and happy trails to Ariana, watching the show and planning her summer bike rides.
Good morning and welcome to Mohawk Valley Living. Today we are traveling all throughout the Mohawk Valley, and later in the show we're going to be visiting the Kayahora Valley, a very interesting place, so be sure to stay tuned.
There's a place on down the road, just over the hill past the maple grove, down by the road just a little ways, that's where we all used to play. Moss-covered rods, water that's freezing, warm summer breeze, it sure is pleasing, sun shining through the white.
Players of Utica presents Gypsy, today at 2 o'clock, and next Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the Players of Utica Theater on State Street in Utica. Details and tickets at playersofutica.org or call 724-7624. Special thanks to Turnbull Insurance Service and Mark and Jim Turnbull. Their continued support makes the show possible. We start this week with an adventure in Cherry Valley, about 10 miles northeast of Cooperstown. When we drive through this valley, we often take its beauty for granted. 25 years ago, a small group of people wanted to ensure that the landscape and the heritage of the Otsego region would be enjoyed by future generations. They formed the Otsego Land Trust.
Otsego Land Trust is a conservation organization, and what we do is protect healthy land and clean water, the healthy land and clean water that sustains everybody. We do that by working with private landowners in the community who come to us because they want to conserve their farm or forest lands forever. They want to see them stay farm and forest lands going forward. We work with landowners to create a plan where they can work their lands because people are part of the land. We work on the land, we live from the land, so they can work their lands either by farming it or if they have a forestry plan to sustainably timber it. Whatever the landowner desires is how we work with them to create what we call a conservation easement, or sometimes it's a PDR, purchase of development rights. And it creates a legal situation where the land will always be protected. We work with the community to educate them about this process because protecting this benefits the entire community, right? It keeps the rural culture, the farming culture, the scenic values, the tourism values of the county. It protects all of that for everybody. So the Land Trust, we perceive ourselves as a community organization working with the community to make sure that this region stays as beautiful and environmentally healthy as it is.
Join a guided hike this Tuesday from 10 to noon along one of the most beautiful stretches of the Cherry Valley Creek and learn how present landowners have restored vital wetlands. Meet at 10 a.m. 2 miles south of Cherry Valley on Highway 166. Since we're so close to Cooperstown on this beautiful day, and it's still early enough to beat the summer crowds, we head to the home of baseball. Doubleday Field has been used for baseball since 1920. You can catch a free game most days during the spring season at 10 a.m., 1:30, and 5 p.m. You can find the game schedule on our website, mohawkvalleyliving.com. If you're looking for another adventure, head south of Cooperstown to Origins Cafe at Carefree Gardens. This new dining experience is the creation of two sisters who grew up in their parents' greenhouses. Their tropical cafe celebrates the local harvest, infused with a food culture from other countries. The sisters spend their winters abroad working on organic farms.
Yeah, we always grew up running around the plants, and it's been really integral part of our lives. So as we've grown up, we've both gravitated towards environmental issues, and we both went to school for environmental studies, environmental sciences, and we came into food through that perspective. Neither of us went to school to be chefs, but we have learned so much about the environmental impacts of food that we decided this was one way that we could help make a difference in the community and support the local community, agriculture, as well as environmental health on a larger scale. We're serving out of a food truck, which we take all over town to different concerts over at Omegang, harvest festivals, wherever we can go, and then the rest of the time we serve here at Origins at Carefree Gardens. Our dreams for the future, we'd love to grow more of our own produce here and have people, allow people to have a closer experience with the food that they're eating. So we'd love for people to be able to taste local food, be able to know who the farmer is that grew their food, and know where they can buy a local product if they choose to. So we'd like to be an access point for the local community to connect with local farms beyond the farmers market.
Origins Cafe is located 2 miles south of Cooperstown at 558 Beaver Meadow Road. It is open daily 11 to 5. See a sample menu at celebrateorigins.com. We head back up to Main Street, Cooperstown to Schneider's Bakery. Since 1887, people walking by have been tempted by the baked goods in the large display windows. Today, Chef Jason Long carries on his family's fresh baked tradition.
When I was a child, I worked here for my uncle. My uncle took over for my grandfather in the 80s. And then I worked for him as a child right when I was 15, 16. And then I went to culinary school and came back and got it myself. We make old-fashioned cake donuts. We make black and white cookies. We make a ton of cookies and lots of different cakes, pies, everything pretty much. There's not really bakeries anymore. They're all in the supermarkets now, so it's kind of a little niche. Just the tradition itself, I mean, just because I've always been in food, so it's just one of those things that brings you back to the basics, where everything's been processed now and all cut up, and if they've taken a lot of the skill out of the kitchen, so it's nice to be here where you actually need it and you can't be replaced by a machine.
Sons of the native land, there are sons yet to be born to carry on the work we've just begun. Well, good times may come and good times go, but one thing stays the same. It's the feeling I get when I look around. It lets me know I'm home. I'm making this.
Watch Mohawk Valley Living on Fox WFXB every Sunday at 7:30 a.m. and 11 o'clock p.m., followed by an encore. And now also available on WUTR every Sunday morning at 11:30 a.m.
I wanna live. Yes, I'm making this valley my home.
Here's what's hot on the lot at Skinner and Demoulas. Drive the exciting new Dodge Dart for only $149 a month with a new 24-month lease. $29.99 cash or trade due at signing. Drive away in this exciting new technologically advanced compact sedan at Skinner and Demoulas in Richfield Springs. When you insure your boat or watercraft this season, don't send your hard-earned money sailing. Keep your money here, working in your community. Insure with Turnbull Insurance. You'll get great, reliable, and affordable coverage for your boat. Turn to a company anchored in the Mohawk Valley. Turn to Turnbull. Get your tickets now for Grammy-winning singer Joanne Shenandoah, Saturday, May 25th at 7 p.m. Part of the Fenimore Art Museum Iroquois Cultural Festival. Tickets are $20 and available at the museum or online. Click on shop at fenimoreartmuseum.org. Melrose Supermarket is your family hometown market, known for their choice hand-cut meat, homemade pastas, and salads. This week, save on Hoffman's German or Coney hot dogs, great for the grill. 1-pound packages, 2 for $5 at Melrose Supermarket, East Main Street, Frankfort. Spring style begins at the Village Crossing. Discover unique women's attire, jewelry, handbags, and accessories designed to delight. The Village Crossing on the Village Green in Clinton. You keep saying you're going to do something about your back and joint pain. Call Dr. Michael Tucherone, one of the area's only K-laser therapy chiropractors, the most advanced, non-invasive treatment of acute and chronic pain. Call 853-6225 and embark on your wellness journey today. Try delicious Moo Moo Muesli, simply the best cereal, with whole grains, cranberries, coconut raisins, dates, and almonds. Made in Sharon Springs and available at your health food store. North Star Orchards is open for the season. The greenhouse is full of potted plants, annuals, and vegetables, and outside you'll find perennials, trees, shrubs, and topsoil. The bakery's open too, with fresh pies, cookies, breads, and muffins at North Star Orchards, Route 233, Westmoreland. Savor the flavor of authentic Southeast Asian cuisine at the Lotus Garden Noodle and Sushi House. The Pooh family welcomes you to lunch or dinner at the Lotus Garden, behind the Stanley Theater on King Street in Utica.
There's the fruit of my labor when I get bored. Tell me that it's mightier than the sword. It's sweet and subtle as a song of the wren. Well, if a drunk man's words are a sober man's mind, it's all the same to her unless it's written on that line. Everything.
Special thanks to Skinner and Demulus for keeping Mohawk Valley living on the road. Stop in and say hi to the guys at Skinner and Demulus in Richfield Springs. This week we traveled to the Kayahora Valley. The valley was carved by the mighty West Canada Creek. This river is 76 miles long, draining the south part of the Adirondacks and feeding the Mohawk River. It was an important waterway for the Iroquois tribes, who called this place Kayahora, the place of leaping waters.
To see what we can see, traveling round the Mohawk Valley.
Our first stop is Newport, named after Newport, Rhode Island, the home of early settlers and landowners, the Bowen brothers, in the late 1700s. The Kayahora Valley Historical Society is filled with information and artifacts, and is open for people researching the area and their ancestors. It is open Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 1 to 4. Many old farms in the area are springing back to life. Ma's Farm, short for Mark and Wendy's farm, is the dream of a young couple from Pennsylvania. They moved to the Kayahora Valley to raise crops and a family.
Well, right now we grow mostly vegetables, all different types, things that you can usually only find in the grocery store. We like to try and a little bit more that you can't find in the grocery store. And we're starting to get into some fruits and hopefully get some apples planted here on the farm. And we would love to see a big, huge apple orchard up on the hill behind us here. Up here, everyone's very welcoming, and people love to talk up here. In the middle of the summer when corn and tomatoes are in season, we've noticed that people come in and they stick around a while, and we usually have a chair or two in here so people can just, hang out for a while. But usually when the tourists come in, usually from New York City or they're going up to camp in the Adirondacks, you can tell when they walk in the door because they think everything's so cheap.
And what do the locals think?
Well, the locals, it's right on target, or they wish they could get it cheaper.
Ma's Farm sells what they grow and their fruit butters through their CSA, local farmers markets, and at their roadside stand. Located at 7342 Main Street in Newport, just a half a mile south of the village on Route 28.
I'm gonna dig down in the dirt, plant good things to eat. I'm gonna heal it in with my own 2 feet. Yeah, down in the dirt, dig down, way down.
We travel along the West Canada to Poland. The village is shared by the towns of Newport and Russia. It was settled around 1800 and was named Poland because it is southwest of the town of Russia, just like Poland in Europe. A handmade sign advertising fresh fiddleheads takes us off Main Street to a roadside stand, where we also discover local maple syrup. A cooler holds a bunch of fresh-picked fiddleheads. Richard and I each pick up a package of this springtime delicacy, which is actually furled fronds of young ferns. I'll be steaming mine up tonight for my boys with some parsley and butter. They think they taste a bit like artichokes. The thought of buttery fiddleheads gets us thinking about lunch, so we visit one of our favorite pit stops, Sweetie Pie's Bakery and Cafe. We find our friend Krista busy as usual. She whips up a hot panini sandwich, and Richard enjoys pulled pork. As if she's not already busy enough, Krista is preparing for her annual run event on June 9th.
This is my second annual Sweetie Pie's Power 5K run and walk. It's in conjunction with the Trout Power Weekend, which is, the race is going to be Sunday, June 9th. It's a 5K, which is 3.14 miles, which is pie, and I'm Sweetie Pie, so I kind of try to tie that all in together, a little play on words. And it's an off-course run or walk. It's very challenging. It's not a piece of cake. It uses, yes, another pun. It uses a lot of our nature trail in the Russiatown Park. There's at least 3 challenging hills. And we start at the Poland School promptly at 9 o'clock. The race starts right at 9. And they end up finishing, the finish line is right in front of the bakery. All the runners get free donuts and coffee or milk or water afterward. Well, we started because the Trout Power Weekend utilizes the West Canada Creek. And we started it last year in conjunction with them just for another event to draw people to the area for the weekend. So I just volunteered to do a run, and so it's hopefully, net proceeds will benefit the fishing locales. Hopefully signage, something permanent where the fishermen are, because there's really nothing that tells the fishermen where they're at on the West Canada Creek, and it's a pretty big creek. So, it'd be nice to get something permanent up there.
It was good to come back to Sweetie Pies. The food was good as always. And after you've had lunch, I had the barbecued pulled pork, and Sherry had the focaccia, both of which were terrific. But always leave room for dessert, because there are donuts that are homemade, and there are 12 different varieties. So head up this way. You will not go away hungry.
Be a part of Trout Power Weekend and run or walk the Sweetie Pies Power Run 5K off-road course, Sunday, June 9th. Trout Power is all about honoring clean water and the wild trout that lives in it. Learn about all the events taking place during Trout Power Weekend, June 8th and 9th at troutpower.com. We travel farther along Route 8 to Cold Brook, to Bert Road, and the over 200-year-old Bert homestead. Bob and Janet Burke grow barley, oats, and hay, and Janet's rhubarb for her delicious rhubarb muffins. We discover that Janet was a math teacher to Richard's kids when they were in school. Bob takes us on a hike down into a valley behind the farm. Back in the mid-1800s, before electricity and modern plumbing, Henry Bert installed a hydraulic ram pump to supply water to the farm. A ram still pumps water 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
Well, they had a dug well at one time, and there's a big story where there's a cave-in in 1839 and a guy was buried. And we think they put the water ram in the 1850s, and it's, of course, right there now. We are pumping half a mile horizontal, 140 feet vertical, and a supply of spring water that flows into the ram at about, I think, 10 gallons a minute, closes a valve, and the momentum of the water forces some up into an air dome, and when the pressure equals the pressure you're pumping against, then water flows out. So we're using maybe 10 gallons a minute and delivering usually 2 to 3 quarts a minute up here.
And what do you use that water for?
We drink it. It tastes good. It's a dual system in the house. If the well quits or the power goes off, we've got ram water. And I use it out of the watering vat to fill my crop sprayer, or if we're watering the garden or need a lot of water. And it's pretty good fire protection. The fire company does know about it. If there were a fire, they can drop a hose in there.
To see what we can see, traveling round the Mohawk Valley. Let's see what we can see.
Here's what's hot on the lot at Skinner and Demoulas. Drive the exciting new Dodge Dart for only $149 a month with a new 24-month lease. $29.99 cash or trade due at signing. Drive away in this exciting new technologically advanced compact sedan at Skinner and Demoulas in Richfield Springs. Make a delicious impression at your wedding, baby shower, or corporate event with delectable delights from Sugar Babe's Cupcakes and Christine's Cookie Shop. Or sweeten up an ordinary day with a visit to their pastry shop at 46 Genesee Street, New Hartford, behind Randall's Pharmacy. View in Old Forge presents the 9th Annual Northeast National Pastel Exhibition, attracting thousands of visitors each year. The show thrills and educates with colorful works from some of the nation's foremost pastel artists. On display now at View in Old Forge. For the most unique shopping experience, visit the Little Falls Antique Center and the shops at 25 West. Over 40 local vendors, all under one roof. Shop local at the Little Falls Antique Center and the shops at 25 West. Always worth the drive at Canal Place in Little Falls. Brenda's Natural Foods is the natural choice for healthy local products, gluten-free and gourmet foods, personal care and natural cleaning products. Brenda's Natural Foods, West Dominic Street in Rome. The Pickup Truck, America's driving force. Come experience a new exhibit tracing this American icon from its beginnings to the present day, including a 1907 Chase Model D motor truck, opening May 25th at the Farmers Museum in Cooperstown. Call Yannick Excavating for all your residential and commercial projects, from new construction and land clearing to septic systems, driveways, basements, ponds, and topsoil. Visit yannickexcavating.com. Allie Lynn's Home and Accessories for distinctive gifts. For spring color. For the bride. For the wine. Allie Lynn's Home and Accessories, West Park Row in Clinton. Expecting company? Just call Deansborough Superette. They prepare delicious Middle Eastern platters for any number of guests. Call 841-4377.
Look at the clock, the time is now. Tomorrow's no promise anyhow. Take care of your friends. They'll take care of you. Take care of your friends.
We head to West Rome to learn about the importance of the Erie Canal at Erie Canal Village. Located on the site where the canal began in 1817, this living history museum is a reconstructed 19th century settlement. The many exhibits take you through the development of New York's canal system, and the 1956 Plymouth DDT diesel will take you for a ride along the canal.
One of the few places where you can see the original Erie Canal is right here. And do you realize that it was only 4 feet deep and only 40 feet wide? We're standing right here by the canal, and also it was here that the first shovel of dirt for the canal was turned over.
Well, the purpose was and still is just to let people know about the history of the Erie Canal. We have a great museum and a 15-minute video that will explain that. Plus people can walk the grounds and see the demonstrations that you've seen. I think people are most surprised that there were actually 3 canals that were built. All right, the first canal was started here July 4th, 1817, and it was so successful when it completely opened in 1825, they decided to build another one. So between 1836 and 1862, they built yet a second Erie Canal. That one was a little bit wider, instead of 40 feet, 70 feet, and instead of 4 feet deep, 7 feet deep, so that it could accommodate larger boats. And that too was so successful that they built a third canal. That was the barge canal system that's still in use today. Well, I came here for one summer and stayed, and that was 19 summers ago. My husband had worked here for 32 years. My parents, my in-laws, we have 6 children and grandchildren, and at different times everyone has worked here.
And why is that?
Well, we just enjoy this lifestyle, number one. It's an opportunity. We all like to visit with people, so we enjoy that part of it also.
Different pace too.
It is certainly a different pace, and we all enjoy that.
We visit Bennett's Tavern, that long ago provided food and rest to weary canal travelers. Today, visitors to Erie Canal Village can experience a day in the life of a 19th century tavern.
Today I'm making some cranberry scones. This time of year was sort of difficult for folks in the olden days because new crops hadn't come in yet. So you were still eating dried fruits or vegetables that perhaps you'd had in a crock for the winter. And I'm doing a dried cranberry scone today. That's something they would have had. It's done in a Dutch oven over an open fire. You take and prepare whatever it is in whatever pan it is you're cooking it in. You take the Dutch oven, build your fire, and it takes a couple of hours to get enough hot coals. You take the hot coals and set them off to the side of the fireplace. Then you would take and set the Dutch oven on top of that, put whatever item it is inside, put the lid on, put more coals on the top of it. And what that does is work almost like a modern day convection oven by heating the bottom and the top at the same time.
Erie Canal Village is open Wednesday through Saturday, 10 to 5, throughout the summer.
When Gillette stepped off that train, canals flowing, hops growing, new towns being raised. There were fortunes to be made. He was a well-dressed one-man show, a tail spinner, a heart winner with a lusty ego. It was a boom town around here. How I wished I was there. It was a rock.
When you insure your boat or watercraft this season, don't send your hard-earned money sailing. Keep your money here, working in your community. Insure with Turnbull Insurance. You'll get great, reliable, and affordable coverage for your boat. Turn to a company anchored in the Mohawk Valley. Turn to Turnbull.
Hi, Dr. Tom. Bringing your cat to the Paris Hill Cat Hospital on Sundays is a part of Mohawk Valley living. Come inside and see why.
Paris Hill Cat Hospital, this is Lindsay. How can I help you? Hello, Mrs. Cole. Your cat is losing weight and you need an appointment, and you're only available on weekends. Sure, I have an available appointment with Dr. Karen Sunday at 2 p.m. Does that fit into your schedule? Okay.
We're open 7 days a week because we know that your cat can become ill anytime. The Paris Hill Cat Hospital, quality care for your cats and kittens.
Celebrate Haudenosaunee culture at the Iroquois Cultural Festival May 25th and 26th, featuring dozens of artisans, storytellers, and dancers. Entry is free with your paid admission to the Fenimore Art Museum, hosting the Iroquois Cultural Festival May 25th and 26th. Oscar's Picture Framing offers hand-finished molding and restoration of antique frames, restoring history for the past 42 years. Oscar's Picture Framing, 12 Kellogg Road, New Hartford. Shop Shelter for handmade Adirondack furniture designed by craftsman Jim Kiefer. He works with you to create custom pieces to your specifications, from dining room and coffee tables to bookcases, beds, and bunks. Call or visit Shelter on Main Street in Old Forge. Have a tropical adventure and walk among hundreds of free-flying butterflies, tropical birds, plants, lizards, and frogs at the Pop Butterfly Conservatory. It's an unforgettable experience for all ages. Open 7 days a week on Route 7 in Oneonta. When you shop Meelan's Market, you'll be the grill master. That's because every hot dog, beef patty, and sausage is made by Bob Meelan himself. Find everything for your next cookout, from store-made meats to fresh salads and tabbouleh, at Meelan's Market at the Four Corners in Clark Mills. Tom's Natural Foods is your connection to local farms for natural and organic fruits and vegetables, meats, eggs, cheeses, and other milk products at Tom's Natural Foods in Clinton, naturally.
I can't stand it when you're not around. I don't know quite what to do with myself.
We hope that you enjoyed today's show. I did, and I found out something new and interesting, which I didn't know before. But I didn't think about it. That the Mohawk River flows from west to east, correct? Yes. Into the Hudson River. So that's your bit of trivia for this week. We hope that you enjoyed the show and that you will tune in next week. Between now and then, enjoy Mohawk Valley living.
Honey, honey,